Hi, y'all. I'm Allison. February was full of ups and downs for me. I had some curses to break, Egyptian ones, Welsh ones, and even out in the swamp. There were waters to explore, fog shrouded area where ships were disappearing, and a newly discovered sunken ship that turned into a graveyard. There were emerging dictators to thwart and sides to choose. And I also had to navigate the dating world in Regency England and learn how to survive in rural Australia. And eventually I got to go on vacation. So let's see how this all broke down. We'll look at some stats and then I will hand out some awards to all of the books. Let you know what was good and what wasn't. In February, I read 10 books with 4,028 pages, zero audio. Yet again. I was mostly an adult with 5 books, and then 3 for YA and 2 middle grade. As far as the genres, I read 4 fantasy, 2 historical fiction, and then a thriller, horror, a sci-fi, and contemporary all had 1 each. Now, as far as series, I officially started Dirt Pit, made progress on the Kane Chronicles, and Mortal Instruments. I will not be continuing the Arc of the Scythe. There's like a companion short series. I'm just calling this done. My longest book of the month with 673 pages is The Thornbirds, and the shortest was Into the Glade with 228 pages. Sadly, I had 8 that I simply never got to, and 1 that I will be finishing next month, which means 5 more books are going to be added to my wheel of shame, but I got to remove 3, and 4 of them just kind of stay there. My favorites of the month were The Drowned Woods, City of Fallen Angels, and From Below. I just remembered my microphone. I'm sorry. Where were we? My least favorite. The Ugly Duckling Debutante and The Toll. My favorite characters of the month, Simon from the City of Fallen Angels. I just love him and want to give him a hug. Just everything about Simon. The 4 kids from Into the Glades. They may not always make the right choice, but I just loved them. And the whole cast from The Drowned Woods. Love it. Character I love to hate has to go to Goddard from The Toll. He is so vile and evil, but you can't help but just be blown away by him. Hated him though. My favorite couple that would have to be Clary and Jace from A City of Fallen Angels. I like how they're together finally, and there were still some obstacles that were thrown in their path that they had to work through, and I really like how that was done. It was a unique take on keeping a couple from becoming boring. The worst couples would have to be Sarah and Renwick from The Ugly Duckling Debutante. So apparently gaslighting means romance. No, I don't think so. And my other one, unfortunately, is Meggie and Ralph from The Thornbirds. I just... No, he's a Catholic priest. I had an issue with it from the get-go. There is going to be a video on this, though, because it's not cut and dry by any means. Most toxic relationships, the happy place. Romantic relationship, friendships, all of it toxic everywhere around. Can't stand these people. And again, the Ugly Duckling Debutante, insults is courting. Most atmospheric would definitely have to be From Below. The creepy vibes in this, off the charts. Most heartwarming is Into the Glades. I got teary-eyed at the end of this one. It was quite impactful. Most enlightening, I would have to give to The Thornbirds for rural Australia and experiencing life out there. And From Below, in regards to the deep sea diving. Learned a lot about that, and I never want to do it. My most surprising read has to be The Drowned Woods. I was dreading reading this, and it turned out to be my favorite. I loved every second of this book. Cringe Award has to go to Clive Cussler for the over-sexualized portrayal of women. Thankfully, they have a very minor roles, and they're not on the page much at all. So I was able to roll my eyes and move along. And also, we bring back The Ugly Duckling Debutante. As I mentioned, gaslighting equals romance. It's just every level of cringe, and no. And I also have to give one to The Serpent Shadow. There was a love triangle in this one, and I did not like how that was resolved at the end. It just gave me a really bad feeling, left a bad taste in my mouth. But I still enjoyed the book. Author I want more from, Emily Lloyd Jones. Luckily for me, The Bone House is also set in the same world, but a different set of circumstances and characters. So I can't wait to read that one. The biggest letdown of the month was The Toll. So disappointed in this and was so looking forward to it. But I felt like I was reading a spin-off instead of continuation from the trilogy. Yeah, it just deviated so much I couldn't even. In fact, this is getting unhauled. I hated it. Most conflicting has to be The Thornbirds. I really loved all aspects of life in Australia. From the starting in the early 1900s up to the 60s, I loved it. But I struggled with the religious aspect of this book. So I don't know what I feel about it. The best world and magic system has to go to The Drowned Woods. The magic system, quite unique, really fleshed out, and the world building, loved it. Most immature cast of characters, Happy Place. They're in their 30s. They can't talk to each other. There's so much miscommunication, and they still drink to the point where they throw up. Grow up. Unfortunately, the trauma train came through again, and it was carrying the Thornbirds. Every time something started to go good, you knew bad was about to happen. That trauma just kept going the whole way through. In its defense, though, that's kind of the whole premise of the book, as you learn from a poem at the very beginning, The Thornbirds. It's significant. So in that case, it did deliver. From my unread list of books, I really wish I had gotten to Blonde Identity and Murder is a Piece of Cake. Sadly, they will have to wait. Now, as far as star ratings, 5-star books are The Drowned Woods, and that's it. With 4 stars, we have The Serpent Shadow, City of Fallen Angels, Into the Glades, and 4.5 for From Below. 1 3-star, Pacific Vortex. With 2 3/4 stars, The Thornbirds and Happy Place. Which leaves a 1 star for The Ugly Duckling Debutante. No surprise there. To be unhauled, The Happy Place, The Toll, and I'm not going to bother to archive it. I'm just going to straight up delete The Ugly Duckling Debutante. All right, so that was my February. It was quite disappointing, especially because towards the end, it was back to back to back. I just had my disappointments, but I'm optimistic that March is going to be so much better. And in fact, so we will have to see how it plays out. Now, I hope to see a day after tomorrow with, I'm unsure, it might be a reading vlog. Hopefully, potentially, maybe it will actually be a dedicated video for The Thornbirds. I had very mixed feelings about that, and I will go over it. So I hope to see y'all really soon, and we're going to be starting our buddy room before long. So make sure you have your copy of A Pinch of Magic. All right.